walk in, and if that class isn't what you think it was going to be, you can walk out and go to your next choice. So it's a pretty neat process. A lot of camaraderie with the team itself. There's a lot of social hours. A lot of food. The food is excellent. I mean, that Mexican place we went to on, was it RG?
Oh yeah, that was.
Oh,
You mean the one that
God, that place was just awesome.
Somehow they know how to cook Mexican food.
Cabs are expensive, but you split that by 4 people, 5 people, it's not too bad. But overall, this is a neat experience.
Kind of describe it for me. Kind of give me a sense of the environment and that sort of thing. I mean, the size of it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, and Mark is right. I actually talked to several of my friends who are agents all over the nation, and it was consistent. We kept saying a lot of us have been before. Actually, all of the ones that I'm speaking of have been before, and we said the same thing. We were really specific on classes and things that we chose this time. So we were, it was things that we wanted to work on, get better at or whatever, and we were all less stressed because we were focused on exactly what we wanted to really do. Because you do get a little overwhelmed, and so Mark is right, you really want to plan before you go and just really pick things that you're wanting to delve into and do better in your business. It's awesome, and it is. It's like family reunion is great because you can pick specific things that you're wanting to really focus on, and then the things that we go in together and there's a guest speaker, those are phenomenal. I mean, they really don't just grab someone and say, hey, would you like to come? I mean, they're really good about choosing speakers that relate to a lot of us and a lot of things we have going on. And it's just amazing, that stuff that you bring back with you as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was 10,000 people there, so it was pretty ridiculous. We got 80,000 agents.
Right.
So 1/8 of our agent pool was there.
Plan your lunch.
Right. There was a lot of planning involved. So we had 150 plus classes, and you had maybe a dozen breakouts, maybe a little more, 15. But so yeah, like Mark said, you kind of had to play by the rules. You would go to like one class, and it would be like, I really want to go see Ben King's class, and there'd be like 1,000 people there. Like, oh, I guess I'm not seeing this one.
The fire marshal could have had a field day. There's people sitting on the floor, standing. I mean, these
Yes.
places were packed.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. But then the ones that you did dial into, there were some pretty incredible classes. So it was pretty hard to pick one that stood out for me.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that a lot of folks, a lot of activity, a lot of action, energy, all this sort of thing. But each of you went down with a very specific plan. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of rip through it and just figure out what your one thing, if you will, that you focused on while you're going down there. And then after you guys each have a chance to chat, then we'll dive further into with each of you. So Mike, what was the one thing that you were kind of focused on throughout the week?
Well, I actually focused on 2 things. First thing was luxury, because we're firing that up with the ALC, and then the second thing was building a team and working from that aspect. And I really dived into the buyer segment of that, buyer agent.
I would say my one thing that probably you're going to ask me a little bit more about is definitely getting stronger with the relationships with the agents I have a relationship with all over the country, and then actually building that even stronger. That was definitely my main focus. And then just the classes, again, just focused on specific things that I wanted to bring back to our team that we talked about that we want to, go to the next level on.
Yeah, mine was basically on pricing. Being a listing agent predominantly, I want to make sure that my properties are, priced correctly, and then at the same time, know what some of the current language is, what the market trends are right now, what's happening with prices throughout the country, what's going to be happening with the prices in St. Louis, which is always about, 2.5, 3 years behind. So pretty well know what's going to be happening here. And also to some of the language that other agents use with regards to how they go about pricing homes, and also getting to that wonderful time to sit down and do a price repositioning.
So what kind of take away? I mean, you were sharing with me the other day about one of the sessions that really spoke to you. So kind of tell me a little bit more about that, and just kind of paint the picture for us.
Right. So yeah, like I said, I took a ton of classes, but one in particular really stood out, mainly because it dives into stuff that I'm seeing myself deal with now, as well as other teams deal with, which is the buyer's agent role and using the showing assistant. And I never really got in tune with what the showing assistant was, as followed by a lead coordinator, until really I went to Aaron Armstrong's and Brianna Morant's class, and they're out of Tennessee. So just to paint a picture of what they're doing, their business exploded between 2011 and 2012 by like 81%. And it was really by firing up this lead buyer specialist backed by showing assistants. So she did 137 transactions with one buyer specialist, lead buyer specialist.
Oh, hold on here. That's not, a flock of buyer's agents?
No, it wasn't 25, it wasn't 10.
How many was it?
But she has 2 showing assistants. She does not show property. She does buyer's consultations, and she writes and negotiates contracts. She stays in her 20%, which was really powerful for me. So she
Can
had,
I ask you something here real quick? So basically, that's, so a tremendous opportunity for leverage there. Would that work without the leads, or what did she do first? Did she get the leads in, or did she just build out the team?
Right. Well, the way they started out was Aaron Armstrong was the lead agent there, and he brought on Brianna as his showing assistant. And as they broke past 2 deals a month, she moved up to the role of lead buyer specialist and got her own showing assistant. But she also had a lead coordinator to manage the leads. That became extensively important because their whole thing was that they did not get any more leads. Between 2011 and 2012, they just got better at converting through that lead coordinator.
So leads were happening, though, was a major thing.
Right, and they were just firing that leads were just falling through the cracks. They weren't getting them, they weren't converting them.
And did they, I know that there's a few different kind of techniques, we don't need to dive into that, but did they say about how many leads a month were coming in before they started thinking, or maybe you can guess that?
I don't. Donnie, do you remember?
If I had to make you guess.
What do you think they were at? Like where your guys are at? Like 40? More? 60.
Around 60 leads a month. I would earmark that. That's about times when you start having a paradigm shift in your business. 60 leads a month. 60 leads a month, and then they start going ahead and build this up. So I'll let you dive back in.
Okay, yeah. So so then they got up. He was her showing assistant, and then she moved up to lead buyer specialist. Got her own showing assistant and a lead coordinator. And that's really where they started to fire up. They would have the showing assistant go out and show the properties. And one of the things was that one of the myths that they busted was that we all think that our buyers and our sellers want to only work with us, and they're not going to want to work with anybody else we assign them to, like passing them off. But that was a big myth, because the truth is that they're only loyal not to you, but your service that you provide. So the key was people. The key was bringing on key people that provide the service that you provide.
It's your standards.
Yeah, and then, they dive into, when you hit a roadblock, ask yourself, which are the 3 essential ingredients, or am I missing? The 3 of those essential ingredients are people, systems, and training. And he said more often than not, it's going to be people, not necessarily systems and training.
So if there's one aha to take away from that session, really making it boil it down here, what would that be?
The biggest aha, you don't need this ginormous mega team to do some of these crazy goals of 500 to 1,000 transactions. You actually just need a few key players that see the way you see.
So you don't need to manage an army, you just need a couple of Spartans.
Now, he said, if you get all these people, you end up spending a lot of your time managing the people that are not necessarily producing, and at the end of the day, those are the people that are going to get you sued. That's what he said.
Is that not 100% true? That's a pretty big one. So I'm going to take this opportunity to have a shameless plug. We do have a system for hiring the right talent and finding, that right fit. What might that be called? And March 6th and 7th, we are having Recruit Select here in St. Louis. Location, I think it's going to be at the Hilton in Frontenac, but location to be determined. Mr. Mark Olsch, O-L-E-S-C-H. He is a regional director in the Florida area. He's an all-star. So if you guys are looking at that area, I would highly suggest plugging into that.
add one little thing to that? Seth Campbell, if you are familiar with him, he talks about that a lot. It's one thing, it's just that his one thing, and a lot of the mega agents that when we're talking on different panel things that we're on Facebook with, some mega masterminding things, it comes up all the time that they are talking about Recruit Select, and they are talking about talent. Talent is the main thing, whether you're looking for someone on your team, even yourself. It makes you even look at yourself and say, am I talent? Am I up to that level? And so that Recruit Select, I know you didn't know I was gonna say that, but I totally agree that
Checks in the mail.
talent is, yeah, right. Good. It's so important.
So, by the way, is it a really small system, or is it a somewhat cumbersome system that has a lot of different facets?
I think it's a mix. I mean, I think once you start to understand it, it starts, you really start just thinking it in everything you're doing.
I guess the point I'm bringing across here is that just that you've taken a one highly successful
Oh,
auditing.
absolutely. Well, and that was what I was saying. I probably didn't say it well enough, is when we're talking, a lot of those mega agents all over the country, we're talking about stuff, we're talking about where the next Recruit Select is. Well, they've already been through it several times.
By the way, if you think about it, guys, I mean, like the people that are at that class, they're looking to find talent and leverage their business.
Mhm.
Are
We
those
talked
the
about
people
that a lot.
are those the people that are, basically great in the industry, or just kind of getting the ball rolling, or are they having certain levels of success? You kind of surround yourself with that highly talented individual just by attending that. So, Gina, I'm gonna pause for just a moment because I want to catch Mark. I know that you've got something you got to get to.
I have an appointment at 12 o'clock.
So, Mark. Actually, the cool thing is Mark's got notes for you here. So, here's the deal, Mark. So, I mean, you were passionate about the pricing stuff, and basically said that it's probably going to change quite a few things as far as the way that you approach it. So, do share. Can I say one quick thing to really frame this out, because you hit on it, but I don't think people heard it, but maybe they didn't understand it. Guys, Mark's right. We're about 2 to 3 years behind that trend of some of those coastal regions. Anyone else is funny? Nobody. Never believe it.
Yeah, I think, pricing in this market is still, an issue. They're talking up in Washington, D.C., current days on market, 4 to 5 days for new listings. 4 to 5 days. Yeah. 4 to 5 days, that's crazy.
That's
How many
hours.
offers?
Hours.
And multiple offers.
When you say
15 to 20.
15 to 20. And sometimes they're even removing the contingency on appraisal. They're removing the contingency on appraisal, meaning that's not going to come into play. If they want the house, they have to bring an extra $50,000 at closing.
2 to 3 years.
So right now, we talked about this a little bit this morning. Everybody was saying that their homes are selling faster and everything else. So right now, they're saying that 85% of the marketplace right now is in short supply, and the other 15% is now kind of balanced. For those of us who've been in the business for 10, 11 years, we're starting to see that the market's starting to become balanced. There's not as many homes on the market as there was back about 3-4 months ago. So it's shifting, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when everybody puts their homes on the market in the spring, to see how fast they're on the market and how close they're getting to the actual list price. But at the same time, pricing is still an issue, and some of the things that I picked up that I wanted to share with you is, we really don't go on a listing consultation. We go on a situation where we want to be chosen as the economist, the pricing economist, versus all the other agents that are out there. We're not a listing consultation, we're doing pricing consultations now. So basically, we have to go into our listings as an economist. We've got to have our stats, whether they're micro in the subdivision, macro the school district. You have to know exactly what's going on. You got to know the comps. You've got to become the expert, and more so than ever, really become the expert. Also, too, talking about pricing, I threw a little diagram up here on the board, and it's kind of a neat diagram, because when we go on our listings, people are looking at us from a pricing standpoint. Well, I have all these amenities. I finished the basement. I've got granite countertops. I put in new floors. I put in fresh paint. I got an architectural roof. And basically, always it has been and always will be, location is the base of the pyramid. Next thing comes size. and amenities. And I think you've got to draw that out and bring it to your sellers when you're doing pricing. That they want to put all the emphasis, they want to turn that upside down. They want to put all the emphasis, well, I've got 2x8 walls on the outside of the home, I've got bad insulation, and I've got the finest granite that's out there.
Bigger
And
nails.
It's not really, you know what?
Bigger nails.
Bigger nails, oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Unbelievable how big these nails are. But they go into it, and that's the bottom line. So it's a visual type thing. Bring that pyramid with you. And remember too, and this reemphasizes that when we sit there and we talk about the market, about pricing, it's not our opinion. It's all about the market. You know, the market is rejecting your price. The market is rejecting your conditions. The market is rejecting the size of your yard. The market is rejecting your wallpaper. And the market is rejecting the smell of your dog. You know, and that all goes back into pricing, but it's not our opinion. If you have the statistics, kind of like we talked about the first part of today's power meeting. We talked about statistics, so we've got the statistics, and talk about statistics. Everything else is what the market's saying. It's not our opinion. You know, once we get into our opinion, you know, we're in trouble. And then with regards, we have what we call the opportunity for a repositioning of the property in the market, sometimes known as price reductions. Something that you might want to write down. One of the agents that sat there talked about a 4-step process. And it's basically every Monday, he gets with all of his listings, and he sends them out by email, statistics on the market activity. Just let them know what the market's doing. Now, the first week that your home is on the market, there's not a lot going on. There's probably not a lot of showings, there's not a lot of hits, because everything has been downloaded to all the different websites that are out there. So make it very simple the first week. The second week, come out with stats with the market activity, and also if they've had any showings and the showing feedback. And also if there's been any competitive price reductions during that time. The third script, basically, the third week, the third Monday, is come out with market activity, talk about showings, and talk about feedback, and try to find an article that maybe talks about pricing, things along those lines. And also at the same time said, you know what, you've had X amount of showings in these 3 weeks, and it seems like we should have more showings of that. You know what, it might be time for a price reduction. Just drop the idea in writing to them and start thinking about a price reduction. And then you turn around and get into the fourth week, and you give out the stats, the market conditions, the showings, you know, the lack of a contract, and then you put in an email, I will come to see you today, would 3 or 4 o'clock be best for you?
Correct.
More than likely, they're probably going to call you up and say, hey, you know, you don't have to stop by, but you know what, you're right, we haven't had the activity, let's do a price reduction. So basically, you tell them that you're going to be there the week before, and then you say, hey, let's set an appointment, I'm going to come and see you. And they know what it's about. It's not a surprise. It's not that dreaded phone call where you haven't set them up. So that 4-step process I thought was pretty interesting.
Can I stop there real quick?
Yeah.
Because I hope you guys are writing some notes on that, because I love that. When we were talking about it this morning, the way I see it is you're planting the seed, you're watering the seed, and then you're harvesting. And you're doing it in a very tactful manner that empowers them to make the decisions right for them. Thank you, Mark.
One other thing that they had talked about is that, you know, who in here likes to negotiate? Does anybody here really like to negotiate? 2%, 3% of you? Okay, I mean, I love it, but anyway, what they were saying is this. If you price the home correctly, you're going to get more showings. And the more showings you have, when it comes time for an offer, you're going to have less to negotiate. So if you don't like to negotiate, price your house correctly, get it on the market at the right price, make your price reductions, because once you get to where the market's at, you don't have a whole lot of negotiation to do. Because the buyers that you're seeing now, when you go in, the buyer's agents, you go in, you see that list, everybody signed up, there's 15 to 20 names signed up on a house, and you think, wow, there's a lot of competition out there. More than likely, your buyers are going to see that, and they're going to be a little bit more aggressive in their offer. So from the other side, from a listing standpoint, price your house with the market, and you'll have less negotiation. Because our sellers are afraid that, well, if I price it there, they're going to come in 15 to 20% less, or 10% less. Not really. If it's priced right and they get the showings, you're gonna get close to your price. So I found that to be pretty interesting. Better pricing, more traffic, less negotiation. I think that makes our lives a lot easier.
And by the way, to be clear, some of us might get our emotional highs off of negotiations. I mean, I know that that's something that I was highly attracted to when I was listing properties, but I will also tell you that our sellers are adversely interested in it. Think about
Correct.
it. You know, the way car dealerships are set up, you know, no haggle price, right? Same thing, they're doing it because people don't want to go through the stress of that whole situation. No different here. Great point, Mark. And
I just got one other thing I kind of skipped over, and I'm just going to read this. It says, we can't make the market. We can only interpret the market. We are competing against other properties, and they are competing against us. Who will sell first? Who will make changes first to meet the buyer's wants and needs? Who will be the first to interpret the market and react with a price reduction? We don't want to compete against all the homes in the price point. We want to compete with the fewest, or let them compete with our conditions and our price. It's a mindset. And if you got to convince your sellers that, you know, we don't want to compete with everybody. We want to be the best price out there, the best conditions, and everybody's competing with us.
I'll tell you what, to Mark, you can tell Mark took a lot of his information from some of the statistics that we had from the vision speech. Anybody that was down there knows that a lot of those numbers are from the vision speech. What I typically do, coming back from Keller, is we want to go ahead and matchmine some of the top things, and every time that we boil it down, it ends up being a 33 touch. So what I'd like to do is make sure that in our Tech Tuesdays, we're talking about the 33 touch system and how you guys can leverage that. And maybe instead of this time, we can go ahead and have a mastermind of the information that was given on the vision speech. So I'll deliver all that stuff, download all the PowerPoints, so you guys can get that. So look for that on March's calendar, because I think that'd be a very powerful thing to be participating with. So you're informed, you can become that economist of choice. Cool. I'll tell you what, Judy, go for it. And I've got cash, so don't worry, don't feel rushed. So basically, you know, kind of give me.
Hey, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. So kind of give us, it's interesting, you went down there knowing that the content was going to be unbelievable and you'd be able to take away a lot from that, but there is also something else that was of extreme value for you, and that was some of your agent relationships. So tell me a little bit about tell me more about that angle. Describe that angle. What does that do for you and your business?
Well, part of it is every day. So it's not just that event, so it kind of works up to that event. I'm social with a lot of agents in our own city as well as outside of it, all over the nation, and then the different things like the luxury, you know, I've gotten referrals from that. I had a lunch with one of those agents that I had gotten a referral from, and from that, this is just an example of one of those things where we had known each other through luxury, and you feel more comfortable choosing someone to handle your client that you know or know will take care of them. So that's kind of how that worked out. And then he invited a bunch of agents that I didn't know, but he knew. We all went to lunch. So then you sit there and you're brainstorming on how the market is in your area, and each one was from a different area. And then you start building that relationship. So from that, I ended up getting to be really good friends with one of the girls everybody on there I saw the entire time, and we started to get to know each other, and I felt comfortable after that being able to refer them business as well. Matter of fact, I did refer one of those business while I was there. I gave it to Stephanie to connect with her in Dallas. But then another girl that I met there during just that lunch, she ended up I got to know her and one of the heads of her group, and they invited me to an invite-only referral group that there can only be one from your state. So I was invited to that. Then from that, I went to a networking event and met tons and tons of agents as well. So it just kind of builds, and it was really all about just that relationship and just being yourself and getting to know a few people. Not trying to, I think the biggest turnoff, and I don't think any of us would do that, but it happens every once in a while, like someone grabs a bunch of their cards, they stand in the hallway and they hand it all out. I promise you I will not remember you, and I promise you I probably won't refer you anything. And we were kind of talking about that. A couple of agents were like, really? Like, really? So we're all smart. We understand that that's really not, we all want relationships. We all want to feel comfortable with someone who's going to handle our clients, especially out of state. We have it every day. I mean, Naomi, when we get, with several referral groups we're in, Naomi usually will do it most of the time now. She's awesome. but she interviews 2 to 3 agents for an area that we're referring before we even refer that out to those 2 or 3 that we're thinking of for an area. And that's all about getting to know those agents and feeling comfortable with your clients. Because we have done that before where we referred it, and then the ball got dropped as well. So, you know, we kind of learned from that. Those relationships are really important to know who you're handing it to. And to add to that, on the way home, I met another, I think I told you about that. I met another agent, and he was from here, does not live here now. And I actually lied to you. I said that we were getting 4 listings from that. We're actually getting 5 listings from that. And we just met at the airport, just talking about business. And a lot of these networking events, if you're on my Facebook page and you see me at a networking event, I promise you that's what we're doing. We have a lot of fun, and we talk about our kids and all those fun things as well. But we're all the time, you're getting so much from those agents on how they're handling things. Jay McElmanley, I don't know if anyone's familiar, he's in Greenville, South Carolina. We've known each other since I first started. And we talked about assistants and how he's already ahead of us a little on, not just a little, he's a mega agent, major mega, but he's ahead of us on some of his things he's already been through that he's had go well, and some things that he's fallen and had to learn the hard way on setting his systems up and with assistance and training and adding that. So we had some fun with that. You're getting so much from those relationships. And that's probably one of the big, and even when we went to classes together, you know, even that we're just sharing, the conversation comes up about a subject and you're talking about how it's working or not working in your area, or what you're developing in your area and growing in your particular team, or not even just teams, some were individual, it's just what they're working with. Some of my good friends they're specifically buyer's agents. We got so much information from each other on how to better our business in our area from that. So those were super important, great.
Yeah, and I think I remember you saying something along the line of the investment to go down there versus referrals. Tell me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even just one referral is going to pay for it, and you're not going. I mean, my object is not to go down there to do that. I mean, you just go down and you start making relationships, and you do it here before you even go. It's all about that everyday stuff, but it does. I mean, even if we hadn't got the 5 listings, even if we just gotten 1, well, that would have paid for family union right there. And I have that happen all the time. Last year I went to Mega, and my $500,000 one that's about to go under contract, that was from those relationships. You know, and it doesn't have to be that big. I shouldn't even mention all. It's more about, you know, I have $80,000 ones that build into something else. You get investors from those price points. So, I mean, those are great. We have investors right now that I took out yesterday, and you've got them, Karen's got them, we're slammed right now. But those price points are wonderful price points to be out as well.
Stephanie, can you share just how does referrals kind of work out for you?
Yeah, I'll get back. I'm doing a warm welcome email to the agent that you're referring to, that either they want to buy something or they're looking at getting in a real estate career.
How many referrals have you exchanged now?
5.
5 referrals. Will you share with us next week a little bit about your strategy with it? Because I'm hearing you guys say that you're being purposeful with through the relationship building with a few key people, not all 10,000 agents.
Yes.
What, and then, because you know, when you go down there are people that as soon as you meet in the class, they're just trying to give you 10 business cards.
Right.
They're passing out at the table.
Right.
So what I did is I just said, oh no, I don't have any business cards with me. And what I did is I concentrated on each class. I was going to get 2 to 3 really good contacts that when I call them up, I can say, hey, you know, we had lunch together. We talked about building a team.
Have that bridge.
Yeah, have that bridge, and then keeping in contact with them, because the one year I did, I brought back a stack of business cards like this and didn't do anything with them.
Right.
This year, I've already contacted a few and have been in touch with them, so.
So let me ask you guys real quickly too. This is for anybody that wanted to feel review. Where's your energy level at right now? When you guys got back?
Over the top. I mean, and I'm sick, so I'm still like just fired. I just so many great
Oh
things.
yeah,
And,
I mean, there's like, my
you
head's
know.
about to explode with all this stuff.
Good, yeah.
And I think the one thing, sorry, I didn't mean to. The one thing too, we were just talking about it at our meeting today, is, you know, you get all of these things, no matter if it's in our meetings every week or you go to these as well and you're bringing that stuff back. These are good problems to have if you're overwhelmed or you're trying to set up, you know, your systems or all those things. Keep that in mind, and Gary always says to build a small business, and that becomes your big business. So I guess that's the encouraging thing. I just, you know, I have to fight this with myself, is go, oh, I wish I was here, I wish I was, you know, you want to be everywhere, and you're like, you know what, no.